Hi. Um, Thank you, Holy Spirit, for giving me words. Um, I would like to talk about one of the number one lies present in the church. There are quite a lot of them, but I would like to share one of them that has robbed me like quite a lot. And it is this false concept of purity that you can be pure if you reduce your desires, reduce your feelings, suppress everything that is about to bubble up in the inside of you, both like anger or disappointment in those situations, or passion and romance and desire. So everything that can bring you to sin has to be consistently destroyed and eliminated and suppressed and killed. And you need to try hard and resist it, and if you fail, it's okay, you have another chance. You can just put yourself together and pay way much more attention and put more effort into it, and just resist it and kill it off and just say no. And it's not the gospel. Like, the gospel is not about what you say no to, it's who you say yes to. Like, Jesus is the one in whom everything is yes and amen. So if you say yes to him, you said no to thousands of things, but you don't even know what all those are. You don't even care. You just chose him. And suppressing and willfully resisting sin is something that is not part of the new creation reality, because it was an option in the Old Testament that you try really hard to stay holy. And the sad story of my youth is that I could actually do that. Like, I had enough willpower. I don't know. I'm not boasting. But I somehow could do it. That I resisted like sexual sin and most of it. and I could like say no to a lot of things and avoid trouble. And everyone was clapping like, "Oh, you're a pure Christian girl." But I was suffering, and I didn't even know why I was suffering. I didn't have the feeling of like, oh, I can't go to the party and it's so sad that I'm not allowed to do that. No, I didn't feel desire for anything after a while. Like, I could kill off all my desires with a huge part of my personality. So I had no desire, what most teenagers had. But it wasn't a success story. It was basically the sign of how twisted I became due to this false concept of purity. I could kill off these sinful thoughts with all the features that God has created into me. Like, yeah, I could like live without boyfriend and party and all that stuff, but I had no desire for life either. Like, you can make yourself a stoic, but it's so much against the gospel, because Jesus came for so that we have life, and life more abundantly. So more abundantly kind of means to me like extreme, like life, like life with a capital L, Let me define what life is. Like, you haven't known life before. Like, let me show you what is the kind of life I think that life is. So I suppressed everything, and I thought that's purity, and everyone was clapping. I was a good girl. And I didn't know why, but I had no motivation to stay alive. I was planning suicide all the time, but not because I wasn't allowed to do this or that. It was absolutely subconscious. Like, oh, I don't even want anything. And yeah, so willpower can work, but it's very dangerous when it works. Very, very dangerous. Like, you should seriously question the person who says that he or she can do that with willpower. Because you are not designed like that. Most of the desires and emotions are not part of your sinful nature. They are God's intentions about you. Like, when something like injustice happening, you are outrageous and you are angry, that is not sinful. It can have a sinful twist in it after a while, but that you have those emotions is not part of your sinfulness. It's a natural way of reacting. Like, that's what God has designed us for. And all this, just the same with sexual desire. Like, you always think that you desire any kind of love and touch because you are that twisted. Like, that's what I was taught. And that's why I killed off everything. And with my personality and almost with my body as well. But God has protected me. Yeah. God has built into us those desires intentionally so that He might answer them. So we have this void in us that is for Him and that is about Him. And when we meet Him, we might realize that, oh, that's it. You fit here, Jesus. This is a place for you. You have already designed the place for you in me. And the key to purity is not limiting your emotions and desires. It's actually living them to the extreme. So if you have a crazy desire in you and you allow it to be as crazy as God designed it to be, like, I want to live a life that is ecstasy 24/7, and I want to be sensing and seeing and hearing crazy stuff all the time, and I want to feel pleasure and joy that takes me out of my mind, and I want to feel like overjoyed in every second of my life and in every cell of my being, and I want to live in that. and I want to move in that, and I want to be out of my mind for the rest of my life, and I want to be loved gently and widely and intensely, and I want to feel like overwhelmed with passion and desire and feel the craziest satisfaction. When I have that kind of desire, then I'm safe actually. Because then the enemy comes up with an idea that, okay, you can try this drug, you're gonna feel very good for a few hours. Or you can sleep with, I don't know, with this guy, and you're gonna feel loved for a few minutes. Then you would say that, okay, I'm not sure that I take your offer because few minutes, few hours? Are you kidding? Like, what I long for is a crazy thing all the time. I long for a way wilder thing that you are offering to me. But when we limit our desires, like, oh, I don't want that crazy thing. I just want to be loved every now and then. I just want to feel a bit of pleasure. I want to be out of myself. Oh, on holidays, And then when the enemy comes up with an idea of anything, like drug, sex, whatever, then you will say like, oh, your offer matches my desires. Like, I want to be high on every holiday. You offering that up to me? Oh, fine, I take it. And by limiting our desires, we actually open ourselves up to sin. Because when we have this crazy extreme desire, then nothing can match this desire except for God. And you are safe. Like, nothing is enough for you. So you are destined to enjoy Jesus, because the only thing that can match your desires is the pleasures in Him. So the idea that if you make your desires small, if you suppress the things you long for, is actually an anti-gospel thing, an anti-Christ message. Because it robs you of your life, and it robs God of His glory, and it robs Jesus of His reward. Because Jesus' reward is you, being one with you, being united to you. He went to the cross so that He might enjoy His wife, being one with her. And if you reduce your desires to the small, like you won't even want that higher thing. Like the satisfaction is just as much as the desire. So if you reduce your desires, you also reduce your satisfaction. So if we say like, oh, I need this small thing for God, and it's like holding out a very small cup. But God wanted us to like bring all our vessels and caskets and everything, because there is enough wine, there is enough water. He wants to satisfy all. He's inviting all the nations to his table so that they might eat with him from the finest wine and the best food. And when that's what he said, they come to me and I will give you the living water, and anyone who is thirsty, come and take the drink. It's for free. When he said to the woman, the Samaritan woman at the well, like, let me give you the living water and then you won't be thirsty again. And then he says, like, you had 5 husbands and the one you're living with is not your husband. We think that there's like a switch here, like Jesus changed the topic. Jesus didn't change the topic. It was the topic of satisfaction. Like, if you don't experience the way I come to you as bridegroom, the way I satisfy you, the way I answer your desires, you will take the limited satisfactions for your limited desires. Realize how big is your desire and you won't be okay with the lesser satisfaction. Like, you won't go to your 7th husband. And we don't want to be thirsty. We think that God is kind of cruel regarding the ways He created us and our desires. And we reduce our desires because we are afraid that if we keep them as big as they want to be, they will never get satisfied. Like, if I want this out of my mind thing all the time, like, I'm gonna be frustrated and depressed all the time because no one will be able to meet those expectations and answer those crazy things I have desires for. And it's a lie. Like, don't you think that God is able to satisfy a desire He has created? He is waiting for us to give us the water that takes our thirst away forever. He can't wait to give us that satisfaction. He can't wait to receive the reward for His suffering, which is the union with His bride. If you participate in the ecstasy of the union between Christ and the church, then the enemy has no chance trying to convince you to get a lesser satisfaction from someone else. Like, it's crazy, but the way I decide whether I minister with a man or not is that I try to find out how they experience God. And if they experience this ecstatic union with God, when they are completely satisfied in this romance with God, that's where I know that they won't have any trouble with sexual sin. I know it sounds a bit cruel, but that's how I know. And every time I find it out that a man has this understanding and experience with Jesus. I know that they are free. I know that it's gonna be okay to minister together. I don't know many people like that, but I know a few. So it's proven it's possible. What I've just shared regards all sins and all emotions, like even like like trauma and pain and all of that. If you suppress it, it's gonna get worse. And if you let it out to God and let God answer it, you're gonna be okay and you're gonna be healed. I shared a lot about it in my video, Have a Breakdown with Jesus. Yeah. So we misrepresent God if we tell people, like, the key to your holy living is to say no and suppress all these things coming up in you, because for God it doesn't count at all that you can check it, that, oh, I haven't done that either. He is very much interested in why you haven't done it. And if you haven't done a lot of sin because you killed your personality, he's not very happy about it. And he's not very much glorified in it. But he feels so sorry for you, first of all. Like, it's not what you are made for. You are made for satisfaction and joy. Like, if you're suppressing everything, like, you are just killing yourself. And you know what? When we hear like psychologists and professionals say that, like, suppressing emotions and desire is harmful and it twists people and all that, we good conservative Christians, we just stand skeptical and we convince ourselves that we are right. Like, yeah, but it's good. It's a way of holiness when we say no and suppress everything. And let me tell you, they are right, at least partially. Like, it really destroys you if you suppress your God-given desires. These desires are created to be fulfilled, period. And I don't say that, get someone to sleep with tonight. But I am saying that God is well able to satisfy a desire He has created. So the answer for your problem is not limiting your desires and suppressing your emotions. The answer to your problem is actually taking it to an extreme level where nothing can satisfy them but Jesus. Live them to the fullest. Let it take you over. Let it come to the full, and believe God that He is showing up and He is answering it. We are afraid of, like, experiencing extreme desires because we are afraid that we won't be able to enjoy when we only get a lesser thing than than what we are longing for. Like, we think that we are better off if we limit our desires, and through that limited desires we can feel the lesser satisfaction enough. But actually it's a trap. You open a huge door to the enemy if you reduce your desires. And I'm the queen of how to kill off your sin nature thing. Like, I kill it off with 99% of my personality. And people thought I was doing great. And I thought I was doing great. I just couldn't explain why I was planning my suicide every day. I didn't even realize that there might have been connection. Yeah. You are only safe if you take it to the full, whatever is coming out of you, and open it all up to Jesus to answer it. And thank you, Holy Spirit, for removing the veil and showing us how to participate in the union between the bride and Jesus, and how to experience the joys and pleasures and satisfaction of this great union. Actually, this is why men and women are created, to represent the original union that is between the bride and the church and Christ. Like, this is the reason why we have men and women on the earth, because God wanted to show a little representation of what it looks like to be one with Him. And if you experience the joys and the satisfaction of this big union, capital U, then nothing of a lesser solution would ever be like distraction for you. Like, you will be unreachable for the enemy if you experience the joys of this union, capital U. And I bless you with that understanding and revelation. And maybe all experience the greatest joys and pleasures of life in union with our bridegroom. God bless you all.